What's the biggest promise your parents broke? Growing up, my family had this lake house that my grandparents built in the 70s. We spent every summer there, and it was my absolute favorite place in the world. I learned to swim there, had my first kiss on that dock, and spent countless nights around the fire pit with my cousins telling ghost stories. When I was 16, my grandpa passed away and left the lake house to my parents. I was devastated because my grandpa was literally my best friend. We used to fish together every morning at the lake house, and he taught me how to bait my own hook and clean the fish and everything. My parents knew how special that place was to me, and one night while we were sitting on the dock, my dad promised me that someday the lake house would be mine. He said, "This place is your heritage, and someday it'll be yours to pass down to your own kids." My mom was right there nodding along. I cannot tell you how much that promise meant to me. Like I literally based life decisions around it. I went to college close by so I could still visit on weekends. I broke up with my high school BF, partly because he wanted to move across the country after graduation, and I knew I wanted to stay near the lake house. I even studied environmental science, because I wanted to help preserve the lake and the surrounding area. Fast forward to 5 years ago. I was 22. I went to my cousin Sandy's graduation party. I ran into my childhood friend Tiffany, who I hadn't seen in forever. We were catching up, and she mentioned she had seen some new people at my family's old lake house and asked if we had sold it. I literally felt like someone punched me in the stomach. I had no idea what she was talking about. I tried to play it cool and was like, "Oh yeah, that whole situation is complicated or whatever," and then I immediately called my mom. Turns out my parents had sold the lake house 6 months earlier and just never told me. They had been having money problems I knew nothing about, my dad's business wasn't doing well, and decided to sell the lake house to this couple named Ricky and Carrie who had apparently been eyeing it for years. I was absolutely crushed. Not just because they broke their promise, but because they didn't even have the decency to tell me, like I found out from Tiffany at a party. When I confronted my parents, they were super dismissive about it. My dad was like, "It was just property. We needed the money, and you're too young to maintain a lake house anyway." My mom tried to be more understanding but still defended their decision. The worst part was when my dad said, "I don't even remember promising you could have it someday." Like what? That moment by the dock had literally shaped so many of my life decisions, and he didn't even remember? I barely spoke to my parents for months afterwards. They thought I was overreacting and being materialistic, but they just didn't understand that it wasn't about owning the property. It was about preserving the memories, about having that connection to my grandpa, about keeping the traditions alive. TBH, I'm still not completely over it. Every summer, I get this ache in my chest thinking about the new family making their memories in our lake house. I've driven by it a couple times, and they've painted it a different color and built this huge deck that my grandpa would have hated. Last year, my dad admitted they didn't even really need to sell it. His business recovered a few months later, and they could have held onto it if they'd just waited. He tried to apologize, but IDK, if I can forgive him for this. That lake house was the one place I felt truly connected to my history and my childhood, and they just threw it away without even giving me a chance to say goodbye.